please open the textbook. Let's get started. 16. Last week we have a case. I think it's 680, and 681, right? Session is bundle products and revenue allocation, and it's just a little bit review for that session. There are two methods that can be applied to allocate the common cost. The common cost is the cost that is shared with the partners or the participants. So two ways, standalone method and incremental method. Now we have a revenue and a cost respectively. So standalone method, we have cost and revenue. Incremental, we also have a cost and revenue. Besides, we have a method is called the Shapley value. And so we have standalone definition and the incremental definition. The only difference is that standalone we just consider each of the products as separately, independently. By contrast, if we apply the incremental cost allocation, we have to rank the users in terms of their use of some products or some facilities. So we have a first rank, which is also called the primary user, and the second rank, which is first incremental user. So last week we have and then the last one is what we call the Shapley value. Shapley value is ranked. It's also a ranking process. However, it's ranked in terms of the amount. We also, according to the Shapley value method, we have primary users and we have first incremental user. But we take an average. For instance, like we have two, right? We have two users, then we take an average. That's the difference between Shapley value and the first and the incremental, the general incremental cost allocation method. So we have a case. Jason, he wants to have a interview in the United States. So he is considering the first trip is his plan is if he considered independently. That employer is in Albany, and the round trip. He lives in Seattle, so he is considering to fly from Seattle to Albany independently. Also, there is also another employer in Chicago, so he scheduled a interview in Chicago. So there is a round trip. If independently considered, the round trip flight for Seattle, Chicago is around $800, and the round trip for Seattle and Albany will be 1,200. If Jason considered the trip together, that means he flies from Seattle to Albany, and then flies from Albany to Chicago, then back to Seattle. The total cost for this trip will be $1,500. Now here is a requirement. Please, the first requirement, please apply the standalone and cost allocation. Second one, please apply the incremental cost allocation. Standalone means it consider them independently. Consider each trip independently. So the common cost, what is the common cost? The common cost for the two trips, or this one is this one, right? So this, if he can maybe employers, some of the employers may, in this case, the two employers allowed or agree to pay some reimbursement to the Jason like this. So he has to allocate the common cost to each of the employer. This will be the story. And then how to allocate the common cost. According to the standalone cost allocation, so we consider each trip, if we consider each trip independently, so for the first trip is to $1,200, and for this one is $800. So that means Albany employers should receive around 60%, right? 60%, and which is $900, and the remaining amount will be allocated to the Chicago employers. The other way, that means the second method is the incremental cost allocation. That means we need to rank the user in terms of their usage. And in this case, it's in terms of the miles. For instance, in terms of the cost or miles, right? So that will be 1,200 will be, in this case, it is selected as the primary user because I think the distance is the longest as compared to the other one, right? So this will be the first rank, this will be the second rank, but according to this method, this is called primary user, this will be the first incremental user. And we have a second incremental, third incremental users, and so on. So 1,500 common costs will be first allocated to Albany, right? First allocated to Albany. So Albany employer will pay the reimbursement to Jason. The amount, the cost will be 1,200, and the remaining amount, which is $300, that will be allocated to the Chicago, which is an first incremental user. This will be the case, the story from the last week. Then we have arguments or contract disputes, and we have some issues last week, right? And then we have a cost accounting standard in the United States, which is we say CASB, Cost Accounting Standard Board, and then their job is to create some rules and accounting rules that is consistent, that meets the needs of consistency, equity, fairness. And then we have the bundle products. That means if we sell the products together for just one price, how to allocate the price or cost for the products. For instance, we have cosmetics, or like we have software games, right? Sometimes we have a lot of games, but sell it at the same time for just one package like this. And then we have the case. So definitions from it has been introduced from last week. So revenues, in this case, we mainly focus on the cash flow, not the accrual revenue in accounting. So this means the cash inflows, the money you receive, and the revenue object is the target we want to estimate. And we have revenue allocation and bundle products. Bundle product is a combination. It's a package of two or more products or service that is sold in a single in a single price. So how to allocate the price to each of the single product? So we also have a very similar method, and the standalone method, incremental method. Standalone method, we have a definition here. There are three types of weights can be used. That means we may place a weight on each of the single product, and then we allocate the single price, right, to each of the products in terms of the weights. It can be based on selling price. It can be based on unit cost. It can be based on the units. For instance, like kilograms or kilometers and so on, or miles. It depends. And the incremental method, again, ranking, right? Ranking, we have a first rank, second rank. But in this case, we say primary user and a first incremental user. So two ways, incremental revenue allocation and shop value allocation for the common cost. So, next slide. So we have a case, according this story is that we have a D company. It allocates the revenue from its bundle product sales. And here are some information for the products. Now, this will be the selling price. This will be the cost per unit. And the standalone means if the product is sold separately, right? So if the Word Master is sold, the selling price will be $125. And if Data Master is sold, and the selling price will be $150. And this one, finance, right? $225 bucks. So this will be the cost per unit. If we have package, that means the package includes the first and the second, right? First and second. The single price will be $220. If we have package that including Word and finance, 1 and 3, right? The first and third, the single price and so on. If the package includes the 3 products, the selling price will be this one. So please allocate the revenue. In this case, now here is a requirement. How should this company allocate the revenue from the package that includes Word and finance suite to individual products? That means how to allocate this amount to W and F, right? Word and finance. So we have 2 types of method. You need to allocate this single price to which one? We have W, we have F, right? So allocate this one to this product and allocate this one to this product. So standalone method, we consider each of product independently. That means here, it can be based on the selling price, it can be based on the unit cost, it can be based on physical units. In this case, we want to allocate this one, right? So this is what we call the common cost, common revenue, right? Not common revenue. Standalone method is based on the selling price. So if Word is sold independently, it's 125 selling price, and finance will be 225. So Word should be allocated, I think, the 35.7%, right? So that means Word should be allocated for $100 out of the 280, and the finance is 180. And we also can allocate the common revenue based on unit cost. This one, right? So in proportion, this will be 41% point, almost 42. By the way, please specify the detailed number. Please don't just 42. and you gonna have a BIOS number. So in this case, it's 41.9%, and this one will be 58.1%. So in this case, the revenue allocated to Word will be this amount, and this will be the amount allocated to finance. Also, we can allocate this common revenue in terms of physical units. Now, this one, right? This is one product plus one product. And if they are sold together, this will be the selling price. So totally they are two products, right? So that means two products, and it's about 50%. So common revenue in this case 280, and 140 out of the 280 will be allocated to Word, and finance also 140. Standalone, then we have the next. So so that means you may allocate the common revenue to each, the single price to each of the product in terms of different basis. And then we have how about the different weights? What's the different weight means? Here, this is one product plus one product, right? And also we can place a weight on the product. If you believe it, some of the products, they are very important in your business. So for instance, we have the same company and we have the same case. If this company sells 80,000 units of a Wordmaster and 20,000 units of a finance in the most recent quarter, and this company's managers believe that sales of the package, which includes Word plus finance, are 4 times more likely to be driven by Word than finance. So that means this one, right? This one will be, in this case, Word should be more popular than finance. And here is a requirement: please allocate the revenue from the package to individual products. How? Now the key point is that we have 4 times, right? 4 times. So that means this one is more popular than this one. Assuming that this is 4, right? This should be 1. This is 4 because 4 times. That means this is more popular than this one, right? So we place a weight on 4 here, and this will be the weight will be 1. So we also in this case, standalone method, right? You just place in this case we have a 120, then it's multiplied by 4, and this one the weight would be only 1. So W product Wordmaster, the amount allocated to that product will be 190 out of this one, right? And finance 87 only. That means this is more than this one. Okay. So if you are a manager and you believe that this is more important than this one, then you can just set the weights and just allocate the common revenue in terms of the weight that has been established. This will be the note 14, right? On page 681, the page 681, the note 14, right? Here. So then we go to the next page, 662 here, incremental revenue allocation method, and again ranking. So we have primary user, we have first incremental user, we have second, third incremental users, and so on. So we have the same case. Now, please calculate the allocation of each product if this company use number 1, incremental revenue allocation, number 2, Shapley value allocation. Again, here's a review. So generally we need to rank, right? We have primary, we have a first incremental. But for Shapley, we take an average. That would be the only difference between the Shapley value and the general incremental revenue allocation. So here is the solution. Rank. So for the first, number 1, the solution for the first question, we need to rank in terms, for instance, assuming that now the managers, just decide W will be the primary user. Okay. W, word master will be the primary product. In this case, the common codes of 280, right? 280. So this will be the primary product. So this product enjoyed 125. Then the remaining amount, which is 150, will be allocated to finance. And if supposing that the managers consider finance will be the primary product, then this will be the primary user, right? And according to the definition. So in this case, the 280 bucks will be first allocated to finance. The amount will be 225. And the remaining amount, 55, will be allocated to Word. Any questions? It's very easy. Then we have the second method that would be Shapley method. Shapley method, we take an average, that's all. Right? Take an average in terms of the equations. So for in this case, if word master is the primary user, in this case, how to determine the amount. Okay. This one, right? Shapley method, value method. So for word, it's very important. You need to be careful for this one, about this one. The amount allocated to word, Now you need to see. Now, if any questions? Okay. So if word is the primary user, it's allocated for this one, right? And then if the finance master is the primary user, then word should be allocated for this one. Then we take an average. This will be for word, right? So in this case, and we rank, right? If word will be the primary user, primary product, and then if finance will be the primary product, and then word will be allocated for 55. So we take an average. So the average will be $90. Also, we do the same. We determine the amount allocated to finance in the same way. If finance product is ranked as a primary user, then it receives 225, right? And if word will be is the primary user, finance will receive 150. So this will be finance, right? This one and then this one. So we take an average. Then we have $190. Any questions? We do the same thing in the very similar way. For instance, if the package includes 3 products. How to determine the amount allocated to each of product. In this case, there are 3 products, right? That means you need to divide it by 3. Okay, so this will be the story for the case company, and then we have the next. And then what if we need to place some weights for on the products? That means sometimes we may consider some of the products, they are very important. So in this case, right? In this case, 4 times case, right? Supposing that Word is more popular than finance for 4 times, more likely to be driven. And in this case, please determine the value, the revenue allocated to each of the individual products by using Shapley's value. So 2 products, right? So again, we still have a 125, we have a 50 for Word, but we place a weight of 4 on this amount, and the weight is 1. Then we can get the amount that should be allocated to. But in this case, the total weight, will be 4 plus 1 will be 5. Okay, so this should be divided by 5. And for finance masters, the average, we still take an average, but this is based on the total weights. Total weights will be 5, right? So this will be 169. So the weighted Shapley value method decides 4 times as much as weight to the revenue, and if you consider some of the product is the primary product, as when the other one is the primary product. So 3 products. How to get the answer? 3 products in one package. 3 products in one package. So 82 and 83, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So we have the same case, but how about this one? $380. So we need to allocate the single price $380, right, to each of the individual products here. Okay. So assuming that please allocate the amounts in terms of incremental revenue allocation. In that case, you need to rank the 3 products. We have a Word, we have finance, we have data, right? Supposing that the Word is designed as a primary product, and the finance is the first incremental product in this case. Okay, Word, finance. So in this case, the amount should be first allocated to Word, and then allocated to finance. The remaining amount should be allocated to the data, and so on. Any questions? 280. So W 120, F finance 150, and the remaining amount 100 should be allocated to data. So, and supposing that the ranking is that Word is the primary product, data will be first incremental, finance is the second incremental. So please allocate it to 280. 280 in this case, Word is 125, right? It received 125, and the second one is data, which is 150. Sorry, 125. So then the remaining products, the remaining price in this case, Word. So we have 380. This one should be allocated, right? So here, and then we allocated the amount, the remaining amount to the data master. In this case, we consider this one the combination of a word plus data, word and data. And in this case, the package will be 220, right? 220. So the difference between this word and the data will be 95. So data should be allocated for 95, and the remaining amount should be allocated to the finance master, and so on. Any questions? So in this case, if we have 3 packages, you need to consider case by case. First one, if this will be the primary user, and then we further consider the combination of Word and finance. In that case, Word and finance 280, right? 280. So the incremental value that should be allocated to finance will be 155, and so on. We have a very similar calculation process. Okay, then because the standalone allocation doesn't require the ranking, this method is less likely to cause the debates. Why? No ranking, no arguments, no complaint. If we have ranking, that means some products are more popular than others, right? That means we may have some arguments and complaints from the employees. And then revenue allocations are important because we have a tax issue. We have sales tax, right? Sales tax. So revenue allocation will affect the tax payable. Okay, end of chapter, then we go to chapter 17. So please move on to chapter 17. This will be on page 697 first, and then we have 698. That was common cost, right? Common cost means the cost that should be shared with some products or share amount of some product. Now we have another product that is also similar to the common cost, but we call this joint products. Joint products, and we have byproducts. Byproducts. What is joint product and what is byproduct? Here, we have several important learning goals for this chapter. You need to identify the split of point in a joint cost situation, and the joint products from byproducts, and then you need to understand the reason for the joint cost that should be allocated to individual products. And there are 4 methods you need to understand for allocating joint cost. And we have more issues on allocation, and we have a joint cost, a relevant decision, and we have several methods that is for byproducts. That means for this one, how to make entries for the byproducts. This will be the main concern in this chapter. So please move on to page 6898. Joint cost basis. This will be the basic knowledge, basic concept for joint cost. Definition first. By definition, what is joint cost? Joint cost is the cost They are the codes of a production process that creates or yields multiple products simultaneously. For instance, a chicken can be made or can be further separated into several products, right? It can be, or like a pig, or a pig can be further created for several products like that. And then we have a point that is defined as split up point. It's the juncture in a joint production process when two or more products become separately identifiable. And what is the separable cost? Separate costs are all costs, including manufacturing, marketing, and so on, incurred beyond the split of the point that are as assignable to each of the products. That means, for instance, we have a we have chicken, right? We have this point is split of a point. So it can be further separate into several products, like we have wings, right? We have drugs like this. And other, like we have maybe other products here. So now, for instance, this chicken is around, the cost is around $100. And this is what we say the split up point. After split up point, now the cost should be allocated to wings and other products, like 30 for on this one, and this maybe 20, and this will be 50, right? Totally 100. And then this is called separate rule cost, right? This will be also separable cost, and this will be also separatable cost. Very easy definition, right? And then here, so a chicken can be made for a lot of products, right? Many products. And this, the cost of the $100 in this case is called the joint cost. Joint cost. Any question? Joint cost. What is common cost from the previous chapter? Common cost is if we have a package, right? It includes a lot of individual products. That is a common cost. However, we have a just single product, but it can be further processed into several products. And then we define this cost as a joint cost, not a common cost. Okay? So in this case, terminology, joint cost. We have several categories of a joint cost outputs. So for instance, some outputs, that means the chicken can be made for a lot of products, but some of the products, they have a lot of value. That means they can be sold at a very high price. And some of the products, they have no value. Almost zero. Okay. Then a product with positive sales value means, and by definition is any output with a positive sales value or output that enables the firm to avoid incurring cost. Sales value can be high or low. Okay, it depends. It's very subjective. Also, as this example, right? A chicken, we have a lot of products. some of the products are popular and the others may not be so popular. So then we further classify the products in terms of their sales value, If the sales value is very high, and then we say this main product. That means the sales value is very high, we say this main products. And we also have a joint products. What is joint products? They are outputs of a joint production process that creates two or more products with high sales value as compared to the sales value of the other outputs. Also, we have byproducts. Byproduct is they have a relatively low selling price. That would be the byproduct. Byproducts. Okay, so here, then we have a case company, right? On page 698 and 699. Now the case is that, for instance, illustration is we have logs, right? These logs can be further used to create two types of the main products, to create a main product like this one, a standard lumber. So logs, we have a split of a point, and the logs can be made for the standard lumber, and the selling price is around $1,000. However, there are also several wood chips, and it's very cheap, right? This is the selling price for this one, maybe 10 kilograms for $1, like this. And that means $1 as compared to 1,000 is quite relatively low, right? And varies, well, the selling price is quite low. And this one is called a byproduct because this amount, the selling price, is significantly lower than the main product. So we have a main product and a byproduct. Any questions? And this, sometimes the customers, they buy this one for their yards, and sometimes it's very good product, but they are very cheap. And then how about joint products? Now again, we have logs, and they can be used to create several products. For instance, like two products, fine grain lumber and standard lumber. And the fine grain, the first, the luxury lumber is like the luxury product, the selling price of 2,000, and standard lumber 1,000, and they are both primary product, main product, and they, by definition, are called the joint products. By the way, wood chips, the selling price is very low, right? Only $1. It's called byproduct. Okay. So here. However, originally we said this, if it's $1 only, right? It's byproduct. However, if the selling price for wood chips will be very high, right? Like for instance, like $995, then this is very expensive. This is not the byproduct. It becomes a main product. Okay. So the three products are then we say the joint products. Okay. Next. So here are several examples of it's in exhibit 1, right? We have milk, we have turkeys, we have some coals, oils, and so on. Then you can read it at home. how to allocate the cost? How to allocate cost? We have allocating joint cost. Joint cost must be allocated to individual products or service for several purposes. For financial reporting, or internal reporting. For recovery of costs. For the determination of a selling price. For insurance or litigation. Okay. So we have 10 minutes break. 10 minutes break.
Joint products 对它主产品就是价格很高的产品，然后有很多个它是在里面的，有很多个主产品的话，它就叫做 joint products 加起来。所以对，你看 joint products 是什么？它是一个 output of joint production， 就是一个东西产出很多东西出来，从那个东西出来的，然后呢，它产生两个或两个以上的产品，然后这两个或两个以上的产品，它有很高的售价。也就是说，刚才的例子，我们不是有木屑嘛，对不对？第一个木屑，如果它价格低到，你会看到跟谁比？如果是跟这两个木头比的话，这两个是不是都卖2000和1000？这个价格很贵，这两个就主要产品、主产品。然后，可是这只有1块钱是相对低，它只有副产品，就叫副产品。可是如果它们售价很接近的话，它就是主产品。这主产品、副产品这三个就叫联合的产品。
是连成多个主产品。
对，在定义里面就是它是想多个售价很高的产品，对 ，with a high value sales value。那什么叫主产品？它是 high sales value， 相对于其他的。所以也就是说，它这个东西，比如说它可以产生像这个例子3个，如果4个的话，我们就4个去做比较。OK 啊，如果还有另外一个像这不是有木屑嘛？它可能会有一些什么，譬如说留下来一些小小的树皮好了，树皮也是2块钱的话，那在这个联合成本里面，它就有什么2个副产品，还有2个主产品，这样子。